Okay, we're live. Well, I'm live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dynneson Discussions number 6, Inshallah Brothers. I'm your host, Casey Dynneson, and like always, well, actually not like always, Sam's running a little bit late today, and, he's, he'll be here in a little bit. So today we kind of have I wouldn't say a packed show, but we have an eventful show. We'll be talking about the Trump visit to Saudi Arabia, Bill 16 being passed up in Canada, the exoneration or the pardoning of Julian Assange by the Swedish government, the arrest of Tommy Robinson. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point, and the Seth Rich investigations. The apparent meddling by certain individuals on certain forums into that. And then I will also be talking about the March Against Sharia event that'll be happening here soon. But until then, let me find some. I'll play a video for you guys so you guys can watch. Oh yeah, I probably should talk about why Aiden Paladin isn't on this week's stream. It was just a scheduling conflict. Yeah, it will be happening on next week. Hopefully, I'll have Sam from the Politipod on. That'll be that's always fun to have him on. Just talk about scheduling conflict. Yeah, sorry about that. Jesus. Trying to find a good video to watch while we wait for Sam to come on. He'll be here in like 15 minutes, so I'll find us just a video for us to watch. You know what? I'll just watch the reaction Sargon had to Thunderfoot's recent departure from the Skeptosphere. All right, so let me just cue this up here. Hold up. Jesus Christ. Hold on. Here we go.
I don't usually do a video like this on my main channel, but another YouTuber called Thunderfoot put out a video that was specifically about me, and I felt so unrepresentative and deliberately so in places that I just had to respond. The video was about this.
You see, there was this guy called the Skeptical Feminist, and he was the president of the Western Colorado Atheists and Freethinkers, who, by all accounts, got high on mushrooms, got paranoid, and thought that one of the girls who he lived with was trying to kill him. So he shot her, and she died of her wounds in the car lot later. The guy who did the shooting himself was, by all accounts, a jerk, a hardcore jerk.
Had the life of her children threatened in a credible way. Are you in favor of death threats to motherfucking children? Hey, fuckface. Come at me, bro. Come on. Come on. How about you step up and you threaten a fucking adult? You worthless, squirmy, coward piece of shit.
As you can see, we knew who he was. He had been quite active speaking to the community of YouTubers who are opposed to feminism, social justice, Black Lives Matter, Islam, those sorts of people, generally called the skeptic YouTubers. I don't even know why that name was chosen. But anyway, so Thunderfoot's video, he wants to distance himself, which is fine. I'm more than happy to do that. And I've done it for many other people. I've taken down debates, I've unfollowed, and that sort of thing, on request. So that's not a problem for me at all. What is a problem for me is what appears to be a deliberate attempt to misrepresent my views. And I don't even know why he would do it.
So how did YouTube's skeptical community deal with it?
Well, a feminist got triggered. Yeah? For the final time. For the last time. Soon crowd. As I said before, like, too soon is literally 5 seconds before it happens. That's when it's too soon.
So as well. But I want to say, can I praise the shooter really quick?
That was two different sections of the live stream, edited together, with no indication that they weren't congruent. They aren't. But more importantly, I'm interested in the parts where I am actually the one speaking, if I am to be the one on trial. The first half of his clip was from the beginning of the Hangout, and I will play the beginning of the Hangout for you so you can get a feel for the tone, tenor, and for what I have said in it.
Hey guys, I'm here. We're going
And I am destroying the intro.
You destroyed the intro crowd. Well, a feminist got triggered.
Yeah? For the final time. For the last time.
Soon crowd. As I said before, like, too soon is literally 5 seconds before it happens. That's when it's too soon.
Okay, so I actually don't think we should be enjoying this.
I'm not enjoying this.
The woman got killed, and he
Well,
wasn't really part of any group that I care about. The point of the stream was dark humor, and you can see that me saying we shouldn't make jokes about this is the first thing I say in the stream. Mysteriously, this doesn't make it into Thunderfoot's video. I don't know why. I'll play you another minute or so of the beginning of the stream so you can see the context in which we are framing this. We are concerned with the meta discussion of what has been going on with our community and the social justice communities and various other ideological groups on the internet.
Right. Now that we've got the moral fagging out of the way, let's actually do this. I like the fact that some of the SJWs on Twitter, according to Lewis, or was it Busalu who said it, they might be starting to go, it's like, oh, Sargon of Akkad.
Just so I can pop in here, just for a little bit of reference, because I don't know if people remember what happened here. I should have done this before, like 4 minutes ago, but so the Skeptic Feminist was I guess a fairly, I wouldn't describe him as an SJW YouTuber, but a fairly prominent YouTube feminist channel. One of their contributors, I forget his name, but it was the male contributor to their group. Apparently, either went on mushrooms and killed one of them, or had a post-traumatic stress disorder, a PTSD episode, and shot this woman. So far, he's been booked. I don't know what. I know he's been charged, but other than that, not so much. Now, on to the whole idea of laughing at the skeptic at this kind of thing. Well, look, gallows humor is a thing. Do I think they personally did anything? Do I think V did anything wrong? No. Do I think any of these people did anything wrong? No. They just found it kind of funny, and I can see why they would. It's there are certain, not like laughing your ass off kind of funny, but just ironic funny stuff. If you know what this guy was about, or what many of his videos were about, you could see some irony in there. But honestly, I don't think they did anything wrong here. I don't think there's anything wrong with finding humor in the more messed up parts of life. I think that's just how it is. I honestly don't feel anything's wrong with it. That it's just stuff that happens, and we can't help how we react to it. it's a messed up situation, but I don't think their reaction to it is wrong in any real way.
The mass murderer on his stream because they have to exaggerate it a bit.
I'm looking around. It's amazing how many people have actually interacted with this guy.
Yeah, that's the
There's
thing.
No. The turning around thing isn't really new because in my last video I revealed that one of them blackmailed someone.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, impersonated them and blackmailed them, extortion and blackmail. And I literally had Garrett, Jabba the Cuck, turn up and say, "Well, that means he was one of you guys."
Oh, so that
How would you mean that?
Yeah.
like if anyone made an accusation that this was we're responsible for having this person on our stream or anything like that, he was with Christy Winters, just point out. He had probably a lot of feminists on his channel as well, so it wouldn't work in their favor to say, "Oh my God, you have a criminal on your show."
It's interesting how he was friends with Christy. I wonder if she has, I wonder if she thought, well, his mental state is unstable. We know these people. We have a history of dealing with these people, and we often have rivalries and competition with these people. Specifically, many of us have that with Russian Deadpool, and the jokes were at his expense. When you say things like,
Oh, hello, Sam. How's it going there, buddy?
Hey there, how are you guys?
I'm good. It's just me though for right now. We have 0 viewers, but whatever. That might tick up. That might not. You never know with these fucking things. How are you doing right now?
I'm doing good. Are we on air right now? Did I like miss a whole bunch of stuff?
I was just playing a video for these guys, but yeah, but I was just playing a video, just to pass the time and stuff. So if you want to just go back to, go to the regular scheduled stuff that I had planned, we could go right into it if you want to.
Well, sure. Let me just first of all, can you see me, or do I need to change my lighting here?
Oh, I can see you fine.
Okay. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sam Whitfeild, and I've been here for, geez, I think this is like my 4th or 5th time on Casey's show. And
you're sort of my unofficial co-host, to be honest, at this point.
Yeah, which is funny because like I have, like, out of all the YouTubers on here, like I pretty much don't exist. Like my main channel only has like 93 subscribers, and I'm not even monetizing like any of my videos. So I mean, like, as far as YouTubers go, like I'm like more non-existent than Casey.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're also on other stuff, like you're on other websites, so you're good.
I am, but
yeah.
Anyway, so you and I were kind of talking about topics, and I mean, were there any ones that you wanted to bring up tonight before we got started, or?
Trump's visit to Saudi Arabia was kind of up there.
Yeah, I read that like this afternoon. Well, let's kind of dive into that real quick before we get into the whole Soundgarden.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But
so what'd you think?
I mean, the whole thing with Trump visiting Saudi Arabia, it's very interesting because since the last time we talked, I've noticed that the kind of MAGA camp, or MAGA, or however people are pronouncing it, has kind of split into 2 factions. Now there seems to be this faction of people, some of whom you and I are friends with, who for some reason now they think that Trump is becoming like a globalist cuck because he's meeting with, like, Saudi Arabia and other nations, and he's not quite as nationalist as some people would like to, believe. But then there are other people like me who are like, well, he's not perfect, but I don't see what the whole problem with his visiting Saudi Arabia is. Like,
Well,
I don't think it's...
He has to do that. That's what I don't get. Like, people are so pissed that, oh, he shouldn't have gone there. It's like, dude, he has to go there. That's his job.
Well, it's like well okay, I guess I'll name drop. So I'm just a little confused right now by kind of James Allsup's
I'm not familiar with that guy.
James Allsup is the Trump supporter who he went viral because one of the Antifa kids I guess like bashed his head open with like
Yeah.
a flagpole. He's that guy, and I've actually had him on my show before, and I mean for the most part he's a pretty nice guy, but I mean he's kind of like a provocateur, kind of like Milo is like he's more like a provocateur, like Richard Spencer is, just like not not as racist as Richard Spencer is, but I
Yeah.
mean he was totally on the MAGA train, and then I mean uh once Trump bombed Syria, then he kind of started to stray away a little bit. Which, to be fair, I mean, I think a lot of us did kind of question why Trump did that. But at the same time, it kind of seems like now, like there are all these like hardcore nationalists that are like they were once Trump supporters, but now that he's visiting with like Saudi Arabia, they're like really questioning him. And like you said though, it's something that he needs to do. Like he can't become like an isolationist, libertarian, like so
Yeah.
many people want him to be. So
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think people's people's expectations didn't match up with what the reality of that job entails.
yeah, and I mean that's like a whole nother thing that like people that like I think you have to realize too is like Trump can make like all these campaign promises you want, but like once you get into the actual job, like it's different than like what your campaign promises are.
Well, I mean, that's not to say that that people shouldn't hold him to the campaign promises that he did make.
Well, right, but like what I'm trying to say though is like like with this whole healthcare thing, like Trump said that like he would simultaneously like cut like Medicare by like by half, while simultaneously like trying to make sure that everyone who was on Medicare like was able to stay on it or something like that. And like that's a campaign promise that obviously he won't be able to keep because that's just not plausible.
Yeah.
To do something like that.
Well, I think we should just kind of stick with the visit to Saudi Arabia because that's kind of it's news topic and
right.
and it's gotten some people to question some things. For example, during this visit, he signed a $1 billion weapons deal with Saudi Arabia. What are your feelings on that?
Now that part I hadn't really heard about that much. I mean like
sorry, not 1 billion. Hold on, I'm trying to read this. God, it's a pretty substantial one though. I think it's
well, I mean, I guess like the big question that people have to ask here is like, the big question like that I've kind of been seeing on Facebook that kind of ties this all together is like, where do you view Saudi Arabia, in the world? Do you view them as our ally or our enemy? Because, Saudi Arabia, I guess, could be considered, I mean, they've been considered our ally for 30 years, and yet, there are lots of people who consider their interest hostile to the U.S.
Mhm.
as well. So, I mean, I guess anytime you're talking about Saudi Arabia, you kind of have to include that perspective a bit. So,
well, when it comes to Saudi Arabia, you really have to look at what what they are in that region, which is a huge power. They are one of those powers in the region. They're monumentally wealthy. They have a substantial military force. They are not the kind of people that you just want to stub your nose at. These people aren't important to that region. So, I mean, I have my problems with a lot of what they do, simply because yes, they are a major sponsor of state terrorism. They are. We have to be honest about that. That they do support a lot of these groups that have targeted U.S. firms and the like. So I don't know. What do we? I don't know. It's a weird thing when we talk about our relationship with that country and any country in the Middle East, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly agree. I think, like I said though, and like you said, I think like a big mistake would be just like avoiding them completely though, which is what a lot of people surprisingly want. In our camp. And look, I mean, I can kind of see their perspective, but at the same time, I mean, there were people who were saying that we needed to avoid Hitler back in the 30s, and and we did, and look how that turned out. Not very well. Historically speaking. So, I mean, I don't know. Just in terms of Saudi Arabia, like I'm not overly freaked out like some people are. I'm not a huge fan of Trump signing like a weapons deal with them, but at the same time, like I'm not one of those Trump supporters who was like, oh well, Trump's just playing 4D, backgammon / chess, and we just don't understand what he's doing right now. Like I'm not one of those Trump supporters that is like, blindly supporting him. But
there's always a plan to what he's doing. That's my thing.
Right.
There's always, that thing that people have to mention, that there's usually a reason that he does what he does.
Well, the other thing though is kind of that you have to remember, and I was actually at a Trump event here in Florida a few weeks ago, where there was a huge panel of talk shows in the local area talking about Trump's administration. And the one thing you have to remember about Trump is, yeah, he himself might be a newcomer, but I mean, he has people, who he's surrounded by who are, eons more experienced at that type of stuff than he is. And as far as we know, as far as I'm concerned, not all of them are cucks. Mattis certainly isn't.
No, Mattis, I think, is probably one of his more competent appointees. I would say. Woo! Jesus. Sorry, but that was my dad. So thanks, Dad. Thanks. So added comedy, but
Well, I had no idea that your dad was that big of a fan of Mad Dog.
Yeah, no, but holy shit. Oh, there goes the story. But no, but yeah, but as far as anything else that goes with the Saudi Arabia thing, I think just overall presentation, I think Trump did very well as his first foreign visit. People don't want to forget that this is his first foreign visit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, to be honest, I'm just kind of jaded by all these Trump supporters who are kind of like, oh my God, he's visiting with Saudi Arabia, and like I said, it just seems like there's this whole faction of Trump supporters who are either like blind supporters of him or, like all of a sudden want to criticize whatever he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing, but I don't know. Closing thoughts on the whole. How do you think he handled himself as a foreign representative?
Based on what I saw, he seemed to represent himself very well. You know, he didn't really, as far as I could tell, there weren't, you know, like any Trump gaffes or anything, thing like that. I mean, like that's the other thing is like, I think Trump is a bit more of a straight shooter than you know he lets on sometimes. I mean, like his State of the Union speech, for example, going back to that, like he didn't really gaff there at all. You know, do any of you know his Trumpian kind of quirks, you know, that we're used to, and he didn't do that here. So I mean I think that's one thing that I think a lot of people have kind of been, you know, he's always concerned, you know, whenever Trump does anything is, you know, how is he going to present himself? But you know, I think he did fairly well. We're not in World War III with Saudi Arabia yet, so that's good. So,
Yeah.
you?
I think he handled himself well. I think this was a couple. From what Tillerson says, because yeah, people have to remember that Tillerson travels with them now. Our position with Saudi Arabia is going to be a little more forceful than it's been than the past administrations. I think it's going to be a bit more honest. But as far as the visits gone, I think Trump did very well. I think Melania did very well too. You
Yeah.
know, give props to her for not putting on the fucking veil
Oh yeah. Well, that's you
or the
know
hijab. Yeah, good on her.
for certain, and you know, so one other thing that someone had brought up. I'm kind of scrolling through Facebook.
Yeah.
Right now. The other thing that you have to consider is Obama basically did nothing of value in the Middle East. I mean, I hate to go back to Barack Obama, but we kind of have to in this instance. I mean, Barack Obama was completely feckless with Saudi Arabia, you know, and the entire Middle East as a whole. So, I mean, this is really the first time in over, you know, a decade that we've done anything worthwhile, you know, in Saudi Arabia as a whole. So, you know, that's why I'm saying I think it's a little too early, you know, to be crapping on Trump. But we'll see. So,
I mean, okay, yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that. So I'm looking at my list here. So I've got a couple things. Do you want to talk about Bill 16, C-16 passing in Canada, Julian Assange's pardon by Sweden, or the Seth Rich case? Because that's a big meaty topic.
okay, yeah, I wanted to talk about the Seth Rich case.
Okay, well, let's go to that then.
Now I'm a little, like I said, I mean, I've kind of been out of the loop for the past 2 weeks on the news just because I finished finals like 2 weeks ago and then I took a big break. So, you know, like, so this is really like the first week that I've kind of caught back up, you know, in the news. So like, why is Seth Rich like in the news again? Like, didn't he die like a year and a half ago?
Well, apparently there have been some breaks in the case. Apparently, some things about the original investigation weren't followed up on. Just the mysterious need. Like, how much do you remember of the Seth Rich case?
Well, I remember. Well, like I remember the whole big thing, which is that you know a barbell like quote unquote fell on him while I was working out. So
Yeah, quote unquote fell on him. No, basically, he was quote unquote robbed. You know, robbed with nothing stolen from like nothing. His wallet wasn't stolen or anything. His whole death was very mysterious. He was shot multiple times, and he died on the way there. Now, recently, there's been I think it was some Reddit posts linking him to the DNC hacker, or the DNC leaker, I should say, because there was nothing that was hacked. It was leaked. And the timing of the information that was released on Hillary Clinton and Seth Rich's death is really mysterious. So that's the basic gist I could go out of. I'm not very good at summarizing, but that's the basic gist.
No, I've kind of got it. You know, like in regards to the whole Seth Rich thing, I mean, I find it fascinating, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, Hillary Clinton's not going to go to jail anytime soon, so you know, like I don't want to say what's the point, but you know, like
Yeah. Well,
like
I think what was your what were you saying though?
like unless they find like anything like groundbreaking,
Well,
that
I think they did because recently a guy by the name of Kim.com tweeted out to Handy saying, "Look, I got fucking proof to him," and he's going to make a statement on Tuesday about this Seth Rich involvement. Apparently, he was involved with the leaks as well. So there might be something to this. If it all depends on what Kim.com has to offer. If he says, "Look, here's the paper trail. Here's what's going on. You know, this is what we did. This is what we leaked. This is where we got it." And you know, Seth Rich was the guy, and he was killed for it. I think that is significant. I think that's a huge thing. Now, will it help us lead us to the person that murdered him? Maybe not, but it will say that hey, this guy was killed because of what he did, or at least will lend credence to reopen the investigation and lead it to a federal bureau to do it.
well, I mean, I'm certainly hoping that that's what happens, but you know, like, I mean, like, believe me, like my fantasy politically would be to see, you know, Bill and Hillary both, you know, go to trial and just burn for what they've done. But, you know, until something substantial with the Seth Rich case or really anything like that, you know, comes out, you know, Bill and Hillary will probably continue, you know, living in their, you know, sunset villa somewhere, uh, you know, for the next 20 or 30 years, give or take, however long they have left. So, but yeah, I mean, the other thing I would just say about this Kim.com guy is let's just hope that his brakes don't get cut, you know, anytime soon.
Well, I mean, he's notorious for kind of being, I wouldn't say a shut-in, but he's a very private person. Um, so I think he says he's making a statement so long as he clears it with his lawyers. So I don't know. I think he's if he's legit, if this is a legit thing going through, I think it could lead to some serious outings. I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, I don't know. I would just, you know, like my pessimism about the Clintons ever seeing justice is, you know, at its peak. So, but, so was that all you wanted to say about the Seth Rich case, or?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I until then we can't. I mean, I said it months ago, just how much evidence there is to support that this could have been. You know, this could be a this could be a big news story and no one's talking about.
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing though too is, you know, like the Vince Foster case, you know, with Bill's, you know, assistant Vince Foster, you know, hanging himself in his office, quote unquote. You know, like that investigation never got solved, and it's, you know, it's what, 20 years old now.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I hate to say it, but Seth Rich, you know, could be the next, you know, he could be the next. Oh, I just blanked on the name.
Yeah.
So, but okay. Next topic you wanted to cover.
Let's go with one that you brought. Then we can go back to one of mine.
Okay, so the big topic that I wanted to cover, and I was kind of hoping Ragdoll would be here for this because I would be interested in kind of her perspective, but I don't know, man. I guess I was just kind of shocked earlier this week because Chris Cornell, the lead singer from Soundgarden and Audioslave, committed suicide. And like I don't know if you and I have ever talked music before, but like I was a huge I was and still am like a huge Soundgarden fan, and just with like like I know last year there were a shit ton of celebrity deaths, and so they kind of all seemed to get lumped into one. But I mean, when I saw that Chris Cornell like committed suicide, I at first I was shocked because I kind of thought that, well, this might be a joke, but then once it got confirmed, like about an hour later, like I was just sad and pissed. So, and I guess I don't know, like it's one thing to say that like like everyone always says, oh well, you love to, like I loved your music, and it's like, well, yeah, of course you did, otherwise, why would you be listening to someone? But like I don't know, man, like to commit suicide, it's always kind of, it's always like one of those things like, like I just don't understand, why someone would want to. I mean, like I kind of get it. I guess I get it to a certain extent, but I still don't understand. Like I would never commit suicide personally, and I mean, like it just seems like a very extreme method for kind of sort of temporary problem, to me at least. And I mean, I mean, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of I mean, it's one of those crappy situations that you really can't. Suicide's one of those topics that is hard to broach just because it's just such an issue. I have a real personal experience with it. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess all I can say, in regards to him specifically is it's sad because I was reading today, like four out of the five, big grunge bands of the 90s have all lost their lead singers. Like obviously Kurt Cobain, committed suicide in '94. The guy from Alice in Chains, I think he passed away. And same with the guy who did Rage in the Machine. And
well, I know that suicide's a pretty big deal within the music world. I mean, you look back even at I forget who it was, but yeah, it's huge. It's a huge problem in that industry. Just because they and it's not even always accident. It's not even always on purpose. It's usually from overdose.
Yeah, well, and that's what they're saying now too is that I guess he overdosed on anxiety pills, which I mean, like that's all another topic that we could veer off into, and again, this would be another great conversation to have with the other Casey Ragdoll, but kind of talking about that whole thing with depression and with pills. It seems scary to me almost how many people, and more specifically how many Americans, are on so many prescription meds these days. And I mean, one thing that like I know that libs always go on about is big pharma, and people like to make fun of them for it. But I've always kind of thought it was true, that big pharma just got to be too big, and like I don't know, like it seems to me like a lot of the deaths and a lot of suicides within the past 10 years have all been as a result of prescription drug use of some kind. And I mean, it just seems weird to me that's that we've declared a war on quote unquote illegal drugs, but yet no one is really monitoring the dangerous side effects of all these quote unquote safe drugs or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, these people aren't overdosing on heroin; they're mostly overdosing on, painkillers and the like. Well, I mean, it's an opiate, but still, it's not illegal. That's it's an issue, and
Right.
it's a sad one too. I'm not a huge fan of Soundgarden or really anything like that. But yeah, but this sucks that this guy just killed him. I don't know. Is it listed as an accident or intentional suicide?
Well, that's what they're trying to figure. That's what they're trying to figure out right now, because, I mean, he did have like a lot of demons, in his life. Like I've read up on him, and to his credit, and I guess this is the other thing I don't understand about suicide. Chris Cornell came from like a family where like his dad left him when he was young. He and his mom and his siblings were like all alone, and then when he turned like 15 or so, like he started like performing in different bands, and kind of going out there, and then he finally made it big with Soundgarden. And like that, like that's the other thing is like to come from nothing and then to become a rock star like that, that's kind of the ultimate American dream, not so much just with music, but just in general. And then to kind of just throw it all away with suicide, that's been the one part that has never made like sense to me. Is it's kind of like, well dude, yeah, it was tough in the beginning, but you made it. So as far as like whether or not it was a intentional suicide or a accident, like that's still being determined. But I don't know. Just kind of going on a lighter topic, though, I'm curious, what are some of your favorite music groups, or
I tend to like songs. I never really follow anyone closely that much. I don't know. I like Johnny Cash. I like.
yeah,
I don't know. That's probably the one I probably follow the closest. But no, I just like music. I tend to just like songs. I don't know why I never could really get into bands. I mean, I tried to listen to to a single band once, but I really couldn't. I don't know why. It's the little quirk. But no, if we want to move on to just lighter topics in general,
so sorry about that.
it's totally fine.
Yeah.
No,
what? Yeah. So I mean, what other topics did you want to cover?
Well, no, there's a couple. There's what's your opinion on Julian Assange being pardoned by Sweden?
I think it's. I mean, like I was never like pro Assange up until this election, mainly because I didn't understand him. But now I am kind of a fan of him, being pardoned by Sweden, just because to me he seems like the ultimate watchdog, since he goes after, since he's kind of bipartisan. I'm not saying I'm a big fan of all his methods, but I think that's yeah, I think it's good that he got pardoned by Sweden. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you 100%. I think it will. My thing would be, as soon as he gets pardoned from Sweden, we should okay him to come here as well. I mean, he still has a couple warrants out for his arrest in other countries, I believe. For no real reason. He's not hacking anyone. He's not a hacker. He's not stealing the stuff. He's just disseminating it. So I mean, he's not technically doing anything illegal. So I mean, that's my thing. I think. I mean, the charges they had him were for like statutory rape, even though the girl that they were using basically claimed it was bullshit, and she may not even existed at all. So it's a weird. That thing is good though. I mean, I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad he's got at least one thing down. I wish Trump would, pardon him, or at the very least, drop whatever charges they are pending against him, because it doesn't serve his, and it will improve his popularity.
Do you think Trump would be realistically willing to do that though at this point, or do you think?
Yes, he would. At this point, he should. Or he should at the very least float the possibility out there to see what people think about it. I think he would have to know that his core his core fans would really appreciate it, and he really needs their support. It can unify the base again.
I would agree. I'm just afraid. Well, obviously, it's not that I'm afraid. I just know that kind of the rhinos, like Paul Ryan, will just kind of, about, if Trump were to do something like that.
Speaking of the rhinos, what do you think? Just because, and I've been polling this on there. What are the chances you're going to see a lot of the incumbent Republicans lose their seat come midterms?
Okay, well, this kind of brings on to like a whole nother topic that I want to bring up. I'm so sick of the Russia narrative, and yet the Democrats have played it over and over and over again. I'm afraid that all the stupid Dems will finally come out of the woodwork and vote all these Republicans out of the House, just because they somehow think it'll stop the Trump Russia connection.
There's nothing to it. I mean, Comey's gonna have to testify soon. I don't know when they're gonna do it, but that's happening now. I think he's agreed to come meet them. Although, I mean, that's a whole other thing, because he apparently, to Comey's own words, Trump asked him to, not even asked him to, just suggested maybe he should stop looking into the Russian connection with Flynn or some shit. Even though this memo is from 6 months ago, and it's just coming to light now.
Yeah, I mean the thing that is complete and total bullshit to me is that all of these Democrats who were once, cursing James Comey and whatnot for investigating Hillary, going after the anointed one, as I like to call her in air quotes, they went out. They were calling Comey like a bastard, and an asshole, and all these.
Yeah.
And now, now that Trump fired him, now that Trump did the one thing.
Now he's Saint Comey.
Yeah, now he's Saint Comey. He's like the lone defender of justice, and how dare how
Oh,
dare Trump?
by the way, I found out how much Trump got for that arms deal. It's 110 billion. That's a lot of zeros. But yeah, Comey is the way that they're treating him now is such a hypocritical move that it's just hypocritical, and I don't like it. But then again, you can't help tell Dems not to be hypocritical. That's their fucking nature at this point.
Yeah, I mean it totally is. But going back to your question, I don't know, I would like to believe that we'll still stay strong after the election and keep on fighting and hopefully keep the Republicans in power. But
well, I don't think the Republicans are going to seriously lose a lot of things. It depends. I think Paul Nealon from Wisconsin is going to replace Ryan. I think Nealon's going to replace him because that guy's been ingratiating himself with the Trump campaign for a while.
Okay. Well, that I would have no problem with. That I would have no problem with if we could replace Ryan with an actual Trump-friendly Republican. That's one thing.
Or even a Trump-friendly Democrat would fucking work. Or an independent. Any of these people. Here are the key people you need to get out of office. Bernie Sanders needs to. I'll start with the Dems. Bernie Sanders needs to go, even though he's technically an independent. He's still a registered Democrat at this point. Warren needs to go. Pretty much all the progressives need to go, and so do the Webb. With the people that will follow Jim Webb's line, they can stay. Tulsi Gabbard, the chick from Hawaii, the one that stood up against that called out Obama for funding ISIS or the groups that would eventually become ISIS that were Wahhabis and stuff. She can stay, but Warren, Sanders, and Maxine Waters, anyone like that, anyone that's and Schumer.
Oh God, yeah, Maxine Waters especially needs to go. I mean,
Yeah, she's fucking bonkers.
Well, I mean, people always talk about how bad of a mouth Trump had. Like everyone was freaking out when that tape was revealed of Trump saying grab him by the pussy. But if you've ever listened to Maxine Waters, she says much more foul stuff on a regular basis. So she definitely needs to go.
Yeah, but on the Republican side, McCain needs to go.
Who I found out via Milo's page a few weeks ago. Sorry to cut in, but I guess he gets funded by George Soros.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny they have a lot of that source, a lot of connections on both sides. But also they should also fire Ryan. Obviously, he's not effective. McConnell needs to go the hell away. Who's another Republican that we could axe entirely?
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham cracker. Yeah. I think those are the people that we really should focus on because they're big names and they're trying to draw heat. Now, that we still have like 2 years, a year and a half away from that. But I think you're already starting to see moves.
Yeah.
For that, I would say. What else was I going to talk about?
Look, bottom line is I'm just afraid that Trump derangement syndrome is going to be, kind of the.
I'm glad that's become part of the lexicon because it's true. They're going off the rails on things that just doesn't make sense. That's been consistently like they keep saying that the Seth Rich case doesn't have any proof. Well, guys, neither does your little conspiracy theory about the Donald and Putin being buddies.
I know, but the media keeps peddling that, and you know, like or not, like we have alternative news, you know, sources that we look at, but you know, like a lot of even my moderate Democrat friends, you know, are still like, you know, buying into this whole Russian narrative, despite, you know, what I've tried showing, you know, them, and so yeah, like I'm hoping at some point some of them will wake up, but at the same time, I mean, I just worry that Trump derangement syndrome is an actual, you know, thing that we will have to watch out for. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it is an issue that I think people would talk about. What else would I want to talk about? Do you have any idea? Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I kind of do. I guess this is about a month old now, or maybe not quite a month, but a couple weeks old. I guess Matt, what's his face, the guy who created Pepe, killed him off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's totally how a meme works. You just kill it off, and no one's ever gonna see it. It's great, guys.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, like, yeah, and I mean, part of it I think it might kind of be a joke though too, like, you know, like, because it happened so close to Easter, like I was kind of expecting, you know, to be like he would kill him off and then bring him back from the dead. But I mean, I mean, I don't know. I find the whole meme thing I find the whole meme team just to still be hilarious, even though they're not really doing anything productive. So,
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It's that's stupid. That's not just one. It's ignorant how memes work. I don't know. It's just funny. I find it funny that he tried to kill it off and be like, no, that's not how this works.
well, I mean, I find it funny, that, you know, what Shadoway, the song,
Yeah.
song that, you know, everyone likes now is, you know, it's like that song is like 30, you know, something years old, you know, in reality, you know, and yet like all of a sudden like it's become popular again just because of like this internet meme.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, like I would love it if we could send the entire meme team just over to just, I don't know, bother the whole entire Trump Russia team.
Well, yeah, that'd be funny as hell. So I think we'll close up here a little soon.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to talk about this march against Sharia. Do you know what this thing's about?
No, but I'm for any march against, you know, anything against radicalism. I'm all for. So,
Well, apparently there's going to be a march against Sharia event. I think it's across the state, so I'm going to look it up real quick. March against. You know, there's been so many marches in general. Okay, hold on. Let me share the screen right here. I got
yeah. You would think that people would finally get tired of walking around or something, but
this one's a good one.
yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just making a joke.
Yeah. So here's the March Against Sharia page, and it was started by actforamerica.org. If you don't know any of these, I think who was it started by? Hold on, I'll click on this real quick and see what we're up against here. Yep. So Act for America is basically it's basically a national security group. It's people that want to work for it, and it was started by this woman here, Bridget Gabriel. If people don't know who she is,
yeah,
you know who she is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if people don't know, she just did a talk with Dave Rubin. I suggest go looking that up because it's really good. But yeah, this is her. This is one of the things that her organization is doing, and it's going to be on. Hold on, it's going to be on June 10th, so next month, and it's happening all around the country. And I might be going to the one here in my state, in our capital at St. Paul. And usually these things attract a certain type of people to protest, and hopefully I might be able to get some footage. So that's a thing. And might attract the local Antifa. That might be fun. Yeah.
Does St. Paul even have big enough of a population for Antifa, or?
It does it. I think so. Well, it's one of those cities that's very tiny, but it's very important. So maybe, and this is at the Capitol. So this is at the Capitol building.
Oh yeah. Well. Anyway, Antifa will probably just bust people into protest regardless.
Well,
so.
Yeah. That's gonna be a fun thing.
I don't know. I know it's been a while since we last talked, but like about a month or so ago, one of the local city councilmen here proposed that we turn our city, Sarasota, into a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants. And of course that kind of got struck down because most of the population here, voters is pretty conservative, but they bust Antifa people in from like Miami or something like that, to come in.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. They're very well organized. Do you know who Yvette Falarca is?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that lady?
Well, I think she's psycho from what I've heard from Gavin McGinnis and whatnot. So, which is the other crazy thing. It's all these lesbian man haters.
For lack of a better word,
organizing all this, like or not, Milo was right. So it's all the lesbians who can't get laid that are coming after us.
Those are your words, not mine. I have to fucking put that in there. But no, my issue with her is that she's a fucking teacher. That's really my issue. I'll talk to Aiden Paladin next week about this because I really want to get her fucking opinion on that woman specifically, because she are you familiar with Aiden at all?
No. Who's?
You should go look her up. It's Aiden Paladin. It's on Facebook. I posted her full name. Just go look her up on YouTube. She does really good stuff. And she talked recently about dangerous ideologies. She didn't mention Antifa. She mostly focused on Islam, but I would want to get her opinion on groups like BAM next week. And
BAM, wait, isn't that the name of the George Michael album?
No, that's Wham.
Oh yeah. I'm like, wow, these radical groups are naming themselves after 80s pop groups now. So but
they're just
yeah, but no, actually, I'll check that out though for sure. There's another feminist, well, not feminist, but she's kind of an anti-feminist. My friend Joshua Johnson had an anti-feminist on his podcast a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Named I mean, I don't.
Yeah, invite her onto the invite her on. We need more women on the show. There's clearly a severe lack of the female sex here, and it's always been that way. Unlike Casey, he's great.
We need we need we need
We need to fill the quota.
Yeah, we need to get we need more females, and we also need to get Sarah and Samantha Hagmeyer, because then we would actually get views on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if you share it around, that'd be great. But no, show my show. Show my show, damn it.
I always do.
Thank you. I'm just busting your balls. But no, there was another story I kind of wanted to touch on before we go. This will be our very last one. There was recently a weapons cache found here in Minnesota, or Minneapolis, I should say. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I did. What's up with that?
I'll look up the story, but the basic thing is, hold on. But basically, people found, holy shit, yeah, okay, they found more stuff.
We have breaking news here, folks.
Yeah, sort of. It's a day old. Jesus Christ. Oh no, this is a different issue, but I'll touch on this too. But yeah, here's what it is from the NPR, not NPR, MNPR. So let me just get this out here. Let me just share my screen. You adjusting yourself there, buddy? All right.
Yeah.
So basically, this is what it says. A littering complaint led to police to a trove of weapons in a car in North Minneapolis, and now has led to a criminal charge against a 27-year-old Minneapolis man, Abdullah Alahri. I can't read that. Sorry, Arabic names. Faces one. Oh, I'm horrible. I'm so horrible. Faces one count of possession of a pistol without a permit in connection with an incident last Thursday evening. The criminal complaint against him says the man near 44th Street and Humboldt Avenue saw the occupants of a car throwing food wrappers out of the window shortly after 5 p.m. and later flagged down a passing cop to complain. The complaint says a dispute erupted and the officers got the two occupants out of the vehicle and searched it. The men told police they were waiting for a package to be delivered to them by a drone. The complaint, I know, I know the jokes write themselves, but the complainant says, shut up. But the complainant says officers found a handgun, found a hand grenade. Okay, it says found a hand grenade, 2 rifles, including what appeared to be a loaded AK-47 in the car, as well as large quantities of ammunition, cell phones, computers, and what appear to be parts of drones. The bomb squad personnel called to the scene noted that the variety of the ammunition and large quantity of BBs and electronic devices could be used for bomb making.
Oh, just wow. I mean, yeah. You can't make this crap up at all.
Yeah, I know what I love? That they were caught, but because they were fucking littering. What do you think, man? I mean, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're here laughing at it, but thank God they found it before it turned into something. That's all I can say. And again, I hate to say this, but this is another reason why we need to bring back, I wanted to say complete racial profiling of some sort, but we...
Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what these guys look like, because we have a visual confirmation of who these people are. So these guys are the guys that did it, or had these equipment in their car.
I mean, one of them looks, whitish.
He's probably Chechnyan. Let's be real here.
But I mean, still,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll read what their names are. His name is Abdullah. Is the one on the left, and the other is Majid. So they're probably Episcopalians. That's all I'm gonna say. You know, or you know what? They might be Catholic. Who knows?
No,
Who knows?
they're probably Amish.
Oh yeah, those damn dirty Amish. Always planning to shoot up. But here's my thing, because the crazy thing about these, I wanna check out the comments. They always have, if they kept the comments, I want to see it, because it's very interesting that that these guys, that's so crazy. That's how they were found out. That's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, but thank God too. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest. You know, I mean, I don't know if you know this um, about Minnesota. I mean, Minneapolis in general. Um, I think we're a pretty high ISIS recruitment center. I have to actually look this up, but I think we're at least one of the top three. Which you wouldn't think from Minnesota, like, oh yeah, they're top recruiters for ISIS, but
that doesn't, for some reason, that doesn't surprise me though, for um for some strange reason. Let me ask you though, what is the demographic in terms of, like, because I've noticed that, at least from what I read, like, um ISIS seems to go into these areas where, like, people are really ignorant of things, and I'm not saying that, like,
oh no, I mean, we're very trusting. I'll be honest with that. Most Minnesotans are very open-minded. It's the Scandinavian. We're basically little Sweden. I'm gonna be real with you. That's what we are, in a lot of ways. I mean, we're Sweden with guns. We're not completely stupid. We have guns here, and some of us have concealed carry permits, so we're not completely stupid. But there's some similar cultural problems.
at least you guys aren't, Fargo, North Dakota. So
Oh God, fucking damn it! Oh God, that always pisses me off when they do the accent. And the accent's from us, but they always say, "Are you from Fargo?" It's like, no, that's in the Dakotas. Go away.
great movie though, and great TV show. Oh, that is one thing I wanted to ask you. How is Alien Covenant?
It's okay. You know, it's okay. I thought it's an okay alien movie. It's better than fucking Prometheus. I mean, that's not saying much.
Well, I mean, like I was never much into the Alien franchise, just because, like, those black alien things, like, yeah, never really did it for me. But I mean, like, I'm kind of surprised that they're still making those movies too. Whoa. Are you back?
Yeah, I am. I'm back. This fucking whatever. Yeah, you were saying that you're surprised they're still making them.
Yeah, because isn't like the first one like 20 years old or something like that?
Oh, it's older than that. It's got to be 30 some years old.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So, what I'm really surprised by, if we want to get into movies, is I guess they're making a Blade Runner like 2045 or something like that.
yeah, I hate that. I don't get it at all. Like why that is.
Okay. Well, it's been like a really long time since I saw the original Blade Runner, but I thought they ended it in a way that, there wouldn't be like another sequel or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
see, I'm kind of excited for the second Blade Runner, but you kind of, I mean, I don't know. It is weird, but also,
it just seems unnecessary, you know.
well, yeah, but yeah. I mean, I guess Harrison Ford, I guess they're like, Harrison Ford is probably trying to get in a few more movies or something, or something like.
Until you're done. Okay, so apparently, like I was saying earlier, we're up there. Apparently, we lead the nation in the would-be ISIL terrorists from the United States. Apparently, we're the number one recruiter. Good job, guys. Good shit. That's good stuff, guys. But no, I mean, but you wouldn't think that coming from just knowing what a lot of people know about Minnesota. I don't think we would be the ones that people would most think of. It would be like New York or someplace that does have a huge population like that.
No, I'm actually surprised because I would think it would be Michigan.
Oh, that's a good point. That's especially Flint.
Well, no, especially Dearborn because like Dearborn has like a huge Muslim population, but I'm curious, like why Minnesota? Like, is there like a huge influx of Muslims there? Or like
there is. It's they're mostly from Somalia.
And,
yeah.
Okay.
So there's a place called Little Mogadishu. It's a place. It's literally just this block. It's a huge neighborhood of it. And I should say this and I always have to say this because people warn me when I put these out there. Most of these people are fine. They go about their day and they don't do anything. The problem is they're a very close-knit community. They don't necessarily like when outsiders come in to film them. They really don't like when people out there. Now, and another thing is, I forget his name, but he recently went to Sweden, and he exposed the no-go zones there. It's Ami something. God, I can't remember his name. I'll look it up. But he was he went there a couple years back, and I'll look up the video because you guys see what they were talking about. Because it's crazy. It's crazy what a lot of them, and a lot of these people. I should make this very clear. A lot of them still don't speak English, even though they've been here for 40 years. Even if a lot of them have been here for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, let me just. It's unfucking real. It's unfucking real. Well, I mean, there's been consistent shit. There's an issue. There's an issue with a lot of these Somali communities teaching Sharia here. It's Horowitz. Ami Horowitz. He might be related to David Horowitz, actually. Let me just hold on. I'm gonna share the screen.
This is the Cedar Riverside neighborhood of Minneapolis. Known for the University of Minnesota, phenomenal ethnic food, and the export of American fighters to terrorist groups ISIS and Al-Shabaab. In fact, it's reported that dozens of young Muslims from this community have gone to fight for these organizations. So we hit the street to find out what is going on. It's easy to be Muslim in America, or is it hard? It's easy. It's easy to be Muslim. Nobody gives you problems. And you can go to school here, obviously. And the kids, are they good to you? Are they nice to you? Is it tough? Oh, yeah. It's not tough. That's not tough.
It's a free country. That's the beauty of it. So we love America. I mean, it's a great country.
So right away, these people are touting how awesome Islam is. I mean, not how awesome Islam is, how awesome America is. By their own admission.
Yeah.
So you just watch. Have you seen this before, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you should watch.
So we don't have any issues. Do you feel more comfortable living under American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law.
I'm Muslim. I prefer Sharia law.
Yeah.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah.
Now, I really want you to pay attention to this kid. This kid was born here. All right, this kid right here on screen right now was born here. He doesn't have an accent. He is a Minnesotan. He is an American by birth. Watch what he says.
Most of your friends feel the same way?
Yeah, of course. If you're Muslim, yeah.
Same with this kid. Watch what he says.
He can make his daughter marry somebody.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. He has the authority,
Authority.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah.
So here, how young do you think it's okay?
Yeah, 15.
How do you feel when this whole controversy with the Prophet Muhammad, depicting the Prophet in cartoons, how does the whole thing make you feel?
That really pisses me off. You know what I mean? Because they know it's a button to push.
That makes me angry. Just that everyone gets like the big freedom, and then they don't see that the freedom that they're getting is causing a problem. It's causing hatred for other people.
Would it be better if we made it illegal in America to make fun of the Prophet Muhammad?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you think we should make a law that makes it illegal to
Okay, pause real quick. I love how like all these kids too are like, you know, like they're doled up in like designer, you know, like
Yeah, they're well put together. These let me put it this way: a lot of these guys are shop owners. A lot of them are, I wouldn't say well off, but they're middle class. These are middle class Muslims, and they're open for it. So you can only imagine what places like Paris and stuff are going through in Europe with working class Muslims who aren't, let's be honest, that well educated, much more literate in their interpretation, and much more willing to act.
right, yeah. I mean, this is the problem with cultural, you know, appropriation, or not so much cultural. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that would be the correct term now.
Well, what do you mean by cultural appropriation in this regard? I think it's cultural segregation would be a better.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be a better term actually, but just this like culture, but just like this cultural, like we need to accept their culture as like part of our own, like that.
Yeah, so what you're kind of talking about is this cultural tolerance, which isn't to say that's a total bad thing to have. Yes, you should be tolerant of other people's cultures, but you should be honest about them as well when it becomes an issue.
Oh, multiculturalism.
That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, I was blanking on the term. I'm like, wait, no, cultural appropriation isn't the right word, but yeah, multiculturalism. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, continue.
I was so upset and I was so mad. They insulted our religion, they insulted our birthday, and we couldn't take it.
And they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Oh my God, big time, yes.
You understand the motivation behind the people then who strike out violently against people who depict the Prophet Muhammad?
Yeah, I understand totally.
You understand why they feel motivated to do that?
Yes, because when you every day you face frustration and every day you have you're mad or somebody say that or you say hate yourself. You can do anything you commit suicide. You don't care because your heart is telling you I don't want to live no more because you couldn't take that much hate or you kill someone
in a way they kind of deserve it.
Yeah, no, every action has a consequence.
Is it right to kill somebody who insults Muhammad?
Yeah, because she had the religion, I understand, but she shouldn't pick up the practice,
You understand why people would want to attack her?
Yeah.
You have a choice. Would you rather live here or would you rather live in the Muslim country?
I'd rather live in a Muslim country with my people.
Would you prefer to live?
Okay, this guy, like I was saying, watch that kid. That kid is a natural-born citizen here, but he wants to go live in an Islamic state because he's a Muslim.
Yeah.
That's unreal to me.
Well, what's unreal to me, and what's really scary about what's starting to happen here is, I mean, it hasn't quite happened here yet, but it's happened in Europe, and I'm afraid it's coming here. Is my fear is that pretty soon, if political correctness gets out of hand, which hopefully, God willing, now that Trump is president, this won't happen. But my fear is that like pretty soon they'll just allow Sharia law to be enacted in these, let's face it, ghettos. And I'm not saying ghetto like in a negative way. I'm talking,
You're just talking about these neighborhoods that are really closed off. That's
right.
what they are.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, that's what like an actual ghetto is. Like it's not necessarily a bad term. It's just like a, like Chinatown at the end of the day could be considered. Chinatown could be considered like a ghetto of sorts. But like I'm just afraid that in regards to the Muslim ghettos, like they will be allowed to enact Sharia law in their zones. Well, folks, I guess Casey's having technical difficulties.
I can articulate what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? That's about it. But other than that, I mean, as far as my culture and my preferences and everything, it's still Somali. You know what I mean? Even though here you have all the freedom and stuff like that.
And even though I have all the freedom,
I think life might be better in Somalia than here.
because now you have the freedom of it, of practicing your religion while working and doing your other things.
So that's unreal to me. Again, that's really weird to me.
Yeah.
And it's disturbing again because this was taken. Let me check this out. When was this filmed? This was filmed May 27th, 2015. This was the date it was published. So 2 years ago. Let's look at something a bit more recent. Like the incident we just discussed. where they were they had bomb making equipment. How do you square that away, man? You can't.
No.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this. I mean, there's so many incidences though with just this one group, and he's right, and it sucks.
Well, Casey, I mean, you're always welcome to come to Florida if you're ever.
No, I mean, I like my city here. I like the state here. It's a good place to, work and stuff. It's a nice place. It's a good place. This is the reason I'm so frustrated, because you have guys like Keith Ellison, who shield this particular community from criticism when it does need to be criticized.
Oh, I know. Well, it's like I have friends who live in Portland, Oregon, who are dyed in the wool conservatives. They're hardworking, and yet Portland, Oregon was was pretty much essentially the birthplace, or one of the first waves of kind of the Occupy movement and all of this kind of new leftism. That kind of sprouted out of the Obama era. And, Portland went from being, kind of like a relatively quiet, city to, this left wing, breeding ground. So.
Yeah. I mean, I actually might do an edit together video just to show what's been going on with Minnesota over the past couple of years, because this topic is interesting to look at. It's an interesting topic to see how this one community has changed in Minnesota, and not always for the better. And I have to keep reiterating this. There are plenty of good Somali Muslims out there that want to come here and build on stuff and want to get away from the radicals. The problem is that a lot of these communities are insulated, and a lot of these communities now have ISIS recruiters in them.
Yeah, and And it's never the majority of people that cause the problems, but it is the vast. But it is that tiny minority of of people, and it is that tiny minority that, like I say, I don't like the idea of. I mean, like, I don't like the idea of racial profiling as a whole, but at the same time, I don't really see what the other options are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we need something. Of some kind. So, but anyway,
that's it. That's it. That's all I got. So I want to thank Sam, as always, to come on. I want to thank everyone who did watch. I hope. Hopefully that we'll have a bigger crowd next week when I have Aiden Paladin and Sam from the Politipod on. That'll be great. So yeah. Anything you want to say before we head out?
No, just thanks for joining us, and as always, you can check out my website over at AmericanWatchman.org. And Casey, you should really come over and apply to write for us, or do like YouTube stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it
for us or something, because that would be great. But anyway, yeah, folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bye.